So I actually haven't recorded in the car before. Maybe I used to in my older videos, but I don't recall. Anyways, I just felt like sharing something. I'm just coming back from the promenade. Oh man, I'm driving this massive car and it's dark and the street lights aren't working, so I'm just trying to make my way and make do. I did a recording already today, which is, I think, I'm quite proud of doing it, and making these videos again has really been helpful to me. And I just want to say again thank you to Ricky for motivating me and pushing me to start doing videos again, because I find them to be quite beneficial in a number of ways, and it's just self-support, and we need to do what we can to support ourselves with what very little sometimes we have, or like what I have of others' support, or just like I'm saying, support from like our environments. We're not living in supportive environments. Some of you are. I'm not. Not surrounded by supportive people, and coming from a life that hasn't had much support, and so we, are kind of short supply of support, and so need to do what we can with what we have. And what I wanted to kind of mention just briefly, there's a lot of cars on the road. It's pretty late, but for some reason or other there's a lot of cars on the road at this time, which shouldn't really be. And I'm driving at night and I don't like driving at night. There's headlights. I'm just coming back from the promenade. I'm going to go past this Thai restaurant to get some takeaways. I just cannot think of standing in the kitchen on my own and cooking today. I'm not in the mood. Some days I'm up for it, other days I'm just really not. Again, it's the loneliness. I really haven't seen anybody the whole day today, for more than say 5 minutes. Some guy came to buy some safety boots, and that's been about it. So I really haven't seen anybody, and won't see anybody till the end of the day. Well, I still sleep tomorrow, maybe till sometime tomorrow afternoon. So it's pretty isolating, and it's very hard. It's very, very difficult, and anyways, that's what I mean by an environment that's not very supportive in that way. And so really it's just having to push through with each day, with each hour, and it's very, very difficult. It feels very disempowering. It feels very unnecessary. I don't know why there's so many cars. I honestly thought this would just be an easy drive, but it's not. I haven't spoken about a situation in my life with this other person in my life that really should be spending more time with me and sleeping over, and making sure that I'm not so much on my own. But she honestly is just too self-involved. She's just too self-involved. This is the thing. This is what I want to talk about, is that, like, when I met this woman, for a very long time, I put her on a pedestal like I do with a lot of people. And I don't know, again, maybe I was so appreciative of her I can't believe how many cars there are. There's obviously a traffic accident, or the highway's backed up or something, because this is ridiculous. This is madness. All these just lights shining in my face. These roads are so narrow, and there's just cars flying past. I'm driving this massive courtesy car, which is like a tank, pickup truck. It's called a bucky here, and it's just so unpleasant. What can you do? Then the lights shining in my face. Oh, coming up the hill, the car lights of others just shining on my face. Oh, anyway, so like for me, again, and I hope to include this little piece of recording from Tim Fletcher where he talks about like if you were unloved as a child, or you weren't embraced as a child, you weren't supported as a child, then what happens, like he gives a whole lot of consequences to that kind of unwanted, feelings of being unwanted as a child. And there's definitely an accident somewhere or other, because this just doesn't make sense what's going on here. So he just says, and like one of the things for me is that, again, I don't really feel that I deserve like love, or I feel guilty for having love, and guilty. So, I mean, there's much to be said. It's too much, and I just want to stick to the point here while I'm trying to navigate these bright lights shining in my face. Oh, I hate people. I hate cars. I mean, I just hate people on the surface of people, I just don't like them. I don't like their existence of just, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm getting carried away, and I'm just being ridiculous here. But I don't know, I just don't like being in the city. I don't like sharing my space, my nearby space, with anybody that I don't know, and strangers, and having to, I mean, I drive a car, I'm part of the problem. I don't know what is going on here. Yeah, I thought it would like sort of calm down a bit, but it's not. It's obviously the highway. There's something must be on the highway. I've never seen it like this, and I've lived here for a year, and I've never seen it like this. And it happens to be nighttime as well. I don't know if I'll be able to record, because now I'm going to this restaurant, and oh my word, it's just car. They're all just backed up, all shining their lights in my face. All wish. Yes, shine away. Yeah, you got your brights on. Nice. You also got your brights on. Oh, that's great. Car. I mean, I've never seen it like this before. Car. It's just crazy. Now I have a little bit of a break. I'm sure you're all very interested to hear about another car, and this is what you tune into my channel for, to hear about cars. And you've taken your time to hear about, me driving, and now I'm coming around like a very tight bend. Oh my word, it's just not stopping. It's like you would think that people are like evacuating the city or something like that on these smaller roads. These aren't supposed to be busy roads. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, no wonder I'm just so unhappy, in general, just so unhappy. I mean, having to contend with the machine life of things, and unconscious NPC folk, that are stuck in their limbic system, their limbic brain, childish, adolescent, petty, oh my word. Also just here, car. I don't know what on earth is going on here, but I'd be curious to find out what it is. This is very unpleasant for me. I don't like driving places. I don't like being in the car. I don't even like wearing shoes. How about that? Unless I'm standing on tiles, like in my kitchen, I have to wear something. I don't like that hard floor, but I don't like shoes. I don't like being restricted. I don't like tight clothing. Oh, I don't like tight clothing. And I bought a pair of pants about a year ago from a place, and I didn't try them on there, when I was there, which I should have done. And I tried them on today, and they're too tight. It's a lot of money. Anyways, I'm almost at my place, or the restaurant. I don't know the number. Could have ordered ahead, I suppose. Am I going to find parking with this big car of mine? This courtesy car. Am I going to find parking? That's also another thing. Yeah. There's a pub over here. Sometimes when I'm sort of so lonely and down and out, I just come in. I just stand there for like 5 minutes, just look at the people, and then I go back home. I just do it to get out of the house. There's no one to really. I try and look for people to talk to. I try and see, can I find somebody, but it's obviously, no chance of it. But I still try. Also, I just need to get out the house as well. I also got to park in a place where I hope my car, like, I mean, it should be okay, but you got to be careful in South Africa where you park your car to a degree. It's not a nice way to live, but what can you do? And then there'll be a car guard, somebody here watching your car. Oh, here he is. He seems like a decent guy. Anyways, I'm gonna go in and order. I could do like a vlog, where I'm walking around and talking, and while I'm walking I can say, I'm walking into the restaurant now, and I'm looking at the menu. I mean, if you saw me on video, it would be something else, but just anyways, I'm just being silly. So I went to get my takeaways, and I have a feeling that when you sit down, the portions are larger than when you get takeaway. That's only because they probably don't have the exact container, size. And I've often found that, I very seldomly sit down at a restaurant. I think I have in many, many years. But in future, what I should do is just sit down, order, get the food, have a couple of bites to eat. I don't know, but also why not? Why don't I just sit down there? And it's just so lonely and by myself, it's just no fun, really. For the bigger portion of food, maybe. It's not cheap what I just bought, so it's expensive either. But it's probably about $8. If it's about 18 Rand to $1 or so. My maths is terrible. Maybe $8, $9, which is probably not a lot, but yeah, it's that is absolutely crazy. That is so dangerous. There's a massive bus on this tight bend. I hate it, and he was flying. I had to go almost over to the pavement. If I just stayed in my lane, he would have hit me. That's how serious it is, and people just take it as a joke. I just came past an accident now. This bus was flying. It's got people on it. The guy's responsible for people's lives. He can't give a shit. He just wants to get the job over and done with. These roads are so narrow. It's dark. It's not properly lit. Sometimes the street lights aren't working. And that guy just veers right into my lane. And I literally, just had to veer almost onto the pavement because it was grass. But that's it. It's just mindlessness. It's just people in a rush. They're not in touch with the reality of what can actually happen, and their lives are at stake. They're so out of touch with it. They just want to get home. They just don't want to be in the car. They just want to sit in front of the TV. So I'm sure it's been a long day. I understand, but the price that you pay for being unconscious and for being mindless, and for speeding. In my day, I drank and drove, and I was just so irresponsible. It was just so dangerous what I was doing, but I suppose I was just in so much pain, and nobody could tell me any otherwise, So now I'm looking for my, see, this is what happens in South Africa. I'm looking for my keys to get into the house. And again, it's not something advisable to sit in your car outside like your gate. Durban in my area is a bit better, but there is hijacking, that does happen. And so you don't want to just kind of be sitting around and fondling and looking for your keys or checking your phone or something like that at night time. You just don't want to be doing that, It's just something you have to come to terms with, and got to make sure that the gate closes. Like now, it's a very slow moving gate, and it doesn't close properly. It's like there's two parts. I don't know how to describe it, but it's two gates that meet, and the one just doesn't decide to close. You can't afford to leave your, you chance it. It can be alright, maybe not. You just don't know. You just don't know. That's what you live with. Again, people that will easily just end a life where life has no value or meaning. And it's crazy because I'm just somebody who I feel that life does have meaning, and people's lives have meaning as well, Yeah. I'm probably not going to get away with talking right now because the cat, she'll hear me talking and then she wants attention, and especially she waits for me outside because She's got no clue that she's waiting on the steps. There's going to be no chance of me being able to do a recording. Continue talking, because she's just going to start crying. Yeah, she's in absolute pain. She thinks right now that I'm coming to walk her, which I usually do at night, but I'm not doing that now. I've just got my food I want to eat, but she'll start crying. Yeah, anyways, I'll just do this in different parts. Yeah, well, I had my takeaways, and then I'm outside with the cat, doing the walk, which I do every night. I wouldn't say it's a walk, I just play. I've got a stick here and I wave it through the railing, as you can hear, and then she just tries to claw at it, and we do this most every night. And it's full moon tonight. I think it's the equinox, is that what you call it? The solstice. Yeah, solstice. So I'm not sure if I'm going to upload all of this. It's maybe just something different, I suppose. And also I didn't finish off on my point that I was saying. I realize and appreciate more so much about this sort of this insecurity that I carry. I can tell you throughout my talks, while I'm talking, I think to myself, and I listen back over my talks and I think to myself, and I hear it when I'm listening back over my talks, like I don't sometimes finish a full sentence. I don't explain something in full. And that's because I'm really concerned that I'm taking up a lot of time by talking, and the recording's going to be long. Again, it's that fear or concern of mine that when I've been speaking to people most of my life, that they don't really have the time or the space for me. And also my shame in that way of feeling, that insecurity of feeling that I don't really want to hear what I have to say. It's too emotional, it's too deep, it's too real for them, and they don't want to hear what it has to say. This person in my life, she keeps an arm's distance from me, because I know, I don't really send her videos on YouTube that I'd like to send her about, shame and what it's like being raised as an unwanted child, because it will be too heavy for her. In this talk that Tim Fletcher does, he says, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to get a bit heavy here, and it's going to be triggering to a lot of you, and it's really deep, and it is. For myself, it's not. I'm kind of used to the stuff. It's not really too shocking, but I know with my father, I know with most people in my life, there's certain things that they just will completely distract themselves while I'm talking, change the subject, or just get also defensive, and then just, keep further distance from me. So I got to be very careful with that, but for me, it's not as intense. There's intense things for myself in ways, but again, I've been doing this work for quite a while, so I'm kind of used to it. But people that stay away from the truth, people that are afraid of the truth, they don't excuse me, people that are not seeking the truth, they do not want it to be brought to them under no circumstances, even though that truth is what will help them and set them free. There's no question about it. I'm sure in my own life, in my own way, there's truths that I'm not ready to see, or I don't want to see. I would hope that's not the case. I'd hope that I'd be more open to it and be more willing to see. I know that it will be helpful for me. I know that it will be transcendent, transitioning. It can help me transition. I wouldn't say transition, it's the wrong word, but that it would help me in different ways. And it would support me and be for my own good. But I know that it will be uncomfortable in the beginning, and I know it will be quite shocking. But then eventually, I will get used to it, and then hopefully I can work on the issue. Like this thing with shame, again, how much trouble it gets me into with people. Like I was saying, even when I'm doing this recording and I'm talking, and I can feel this sort of uncomfortableness that, I'm not so at ease. When I talk to, let's say, my mother, I don't know if she properly listens to my whole voice note. Sometimes I'll send her half an hour of voice notes, this guy that I'm friendly with, Rafael in Johannesburg, kind of friendly with, I send him, and it's also, but I feel more relaxed as opposed to when I'm doing a video. That's why, for YouTube, that's why I feel that if I had like 3,000 views or say 1,000 subscribers and let's say 600 regular listeners, I don't know how I would handle that. I would just think about all of those people, and I'd put myself too much on the spotlight, too much stress. I feel like I need to perform. I can't perform. I don't have what it takes to entertain so many people or just be myself with so many people. There's too much, insecurity. There's too much shame. I just wouldn't be able to do it. I'd feel like, and I mentioned this before, like Kurt Cobain, he felt that very deeply troubled that people were coming from very far to his gigs, to listening to him play. And he felt like he was disingenuous. He felt like, I'm wasting people's time. They're coming all this way to listen to me. I mean, they're traveling like 3, 4, 5 hours. And I can appreciate what he's saying. They're traveling 3 or 4, 5, however long it might be, just to listen to me, and they're spending a lot of money. And I just don't feel it's right, because I don't feel that I'm that good. I just don't feel that I deserve it. Imposter syndrome. And I'm also like that. I feel like an imposter. Like even this recording, I think to myself, it's not such a great quality. It's not really important what you're saying. It's not really relevant. And again, I keep setting myself out on so many levels that it's absolutely exhausting. I'm like at a constant war with myself in that regard. I mean, constant self-doubt, and it's draining on me, and it doesn't let up. It just doesn't let up, And that again, it comes from the fact of my childhood, where I wasn't allowed to speak, where I wasn't given the space, I wasn't given the time, I wasn't given the attention. I just wasn't. And and it's still there for me today. It's still there. I'm still part of the limbic system. Again, the limbic system is the first part of the brain that develops as a child, which is instant gratification, which is a lot of fear-based. And then the cortex doesn't really properly develop because we stay so much in the limbic system. I don't know the exact science behind it, but I've heard it a number of times, and I need to actually write it down and remember. But I'm actually hardwired a lot of the time to come from the limbic system, which again is the wounded child, a part of the brain. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I feel it, and I challenge with it. And again, I have to do these recordings. I have to go out of my comfort zones. And even though I do feel issued, even though I do feel like I shouldn't be uploading my videos where I'm like sort of really down and out, and I'm just sort of sounding very wounded and very just like not feeling energized and enthused, and yes we can, and all of that excitement, and to try and be entertaining. And then I think to myself, I don't want to, I can't upload those. Who's going to, like, they're not suitable. And I go back and forth with my recordings, and it's really, I think that's one of the reasons also that I stopped doing recordings. I just stopped doing it, and I just felt, what difference does it make, type of thing. I'm very, I don't take well to compliments. I'm very suspicious of people giving me compliments. I mean, who's not really, or just believing in me. I kind of play it down, or I can't accept it. I can't really, I must say, I just can't really embrace it. I just can't. I think you've got ulterior motives. I think, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just being polite. Again, part of the trauma is not feeling that I deserve love, and that all love is transactional. That's definitely what I feel. It's all transactional. But isn't that with most of us? Like, if we didn't get unconditional love, it was transactional. And that's what I feel. It's, in my relationships, in the way, and for myself, it's like my feelings that I got to do 90% of it. And if you give me 10%, I'll be so happy. Thank you so much. And I won't expect anything more. Although I'm being compromised by having to go the 90% route. I find myself in a relationship, in inverted commas. I find myself in a relation, I don't know what to call it that. But where I have to go like 95% of it, and yet I'm like so I used to be so like grateful just to get 5%, just to get some kind of acknowledgement, some kind of, do you want to call it love or attention or affection? And in the beginning, this person in my life, when she did message me, and I just felt so special. I just felt like really, it made my day. Because I put so much investment into her that I believed in so many ways that she was somebody that she wasn't. That she was just so much more mature, so much more wiser, smarter, intuitive, connected, balanced, just wise, consistent. I just thought that, and to my surprise, only of late, by recognizing, hold on a minute, you blinded yourself. I pulled the wool over my own eyes, and I've actually thought sometimes that she was, she was kind of not out of my league, but maybe subconsciously, or that she was just, again, I don't know what to say, but just gave her much more credit than I needed to. And well, why did I do that? Why do I believe so much in people and believe that, it's also desperation. Like I want to believe that we're on the same page. I want to believe that we can have a relationship. If you find yourself on a desert island with somebody, just you isolated, just yourself and this other person, you're really going to hope and pray that you kind of get along well, that you kind of connect and you get each other, and that you can talk to them on an emotional level, and that you can grow with them, and that you can survive with them, that you're on the same page. You don't want to believe that, that they're very, well, not just limited, but they're just not on the same page as you, that I'm saying you're lonely and you want the support, and you imagine it. How many people in marriages want to believe that their spouse is something that they're not? Again, rose-tinted glasses, not seeing reality for the way that it is. Seeing it not how it is. Again, like a woman will, or a man, or it doesn't matter, let's say in this case a woman will find a guy who's successful in business, maybe a doctor or a lawyer or an actor or singer, and believe just because of his profession and because of his popularity or fame or fortune, that by him loving her, right, that she feels good about herself, that she feels important, that she feels that she has value, that she feels that she counts, she feels that she matters, but she doesn't see at the same time that, because that's what she's feeding off. It's through, again, how many, I'm just thinking now with parents, through their own children, vicariously living through their own children, for their children's accomplishments are like their own accomplishments, because they feel empty inside. Like a woman, she marries a football player, she feels empty inside. And then she feels better. Oh, this guy gives me attention. He's somebody special. And I think that's why people are so wanting to be loved by celebrities. It's like, you're famous. You got power. And if you like me, that says that I'm highly, highly likable. I remember in Seinfeld with George. I'm kind of missing the point here. I feel like I'm going off a little bit. I'll try to bring it back with George. He has a picture. I can't remember how he has this picture of this woman, and I think it was Jerry's girlfriend, and he's got a picture of her for some reason or other, in Seinfeld, and he shows this picture of this beautiful woman to other attractive ladies, and they all of a sudden, he says, this is my girlfriend, and she sadly passed away, and they're like, oh, she's so pretty. I'm so sorry. Hey, what's your name? So, I'm George. So he sees that this picture is able to get him into the clubs where all the beautiful women are, and he's part of this high society because he was once, like he said, I supposedly dated this woman. I was embraced by her. She loved me. She saw me, and if she's pretty, then she's got power, and pretty people have power in this world. So for myself, let's just say, now I'm more wiser, but I could meet a pretty girl back in the day and just be blown head over heels from her, and just think that she's just it. She's got everything that I'm looking for. She's just right up my alley. I love her, But it's not love. It's not love. And then at the same time, I love her, but I'm tremendously insecure. You see, it's a whole mixed bag. I'm tremendously insecure. There's so much going on, and this is happening all the time in most relationships without us even knowing. Again, it's just, We just see. So what I'm saying is that, okay, so I meet I know it happened. It happened. Let's just say, I don't want to get too personal in case, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I speak about my family outright, and sometimes I feel to be a little bit more, discreet. But let's just say a friend of mine that he met, he found this woman that was out of his league, and he did everything to pursue her. And I mean, he proposed to her on a check, basically. It was his father's check, and his father was known to have a lot of money. And he was just out to get this woman, because she was out of his league. And that's the kind of guy he is. He really craves and desires and needs other people's approval. He's not a show-off, but he's the kind of guy that will push himself beyond his limits. He'll run races, he'll do Ironman competitions, he'll just go crazy. He'll work in the community on every level and just get involved. So people can say, wow, look at this guy, what a mensch he is, what a all-rounder he is, what a unbelievable guy this is. And that's where he gets, and even though he's exhausted, and even though he's spread so thin, and he's willing to help people out with finances that, with money that don't pay him back, and he just pushes and pushes in every area. And even with his wife, now, he feels terribly insecure, and he tries to make her happy, and she's not happy. She's not a happy person within herself. She's not, I don't think she's anything amazing, but in his eyes, he will see her as amazing because she chose him, and she's an attractive woman, and she's out of his league, and she's kind of like a Julia Roberts in Eat, Pray, Love. She's traveled a bit in the world, she's had different experiences, and she's just like a real chap, as they say, in Jewish, like a real catch. And so in himself, again, his association to her and his dedication to her, and she's very cold to him. She doesn't show him a lot of love, a lot of affection, and it depresses him. But at the same time, he really, through association, puts her actually higher than himself. His own value, seriously, puts it higher than himself. And he might give her traits and characteristics, and like in my case with this person I'm talking about in my life, I put them on a pedestal. I thought that they were a lot more mature than they actually were. I thought that they were healing a lot faster, and growing a lot faster, and giving them way too much credit than they actually were, because I wanted to believe it. So it's getting mixed up. But I'm saying too many things here. There's so many moving parts. There's so much to cover, because there's just so many different paradigms that are going on simultaneously. So again, on the one hand, I'm wanting to believe that they're something that they're not, right? Because they like me, or because I think they're pretty, or I think, they're really cool, and if they like me from that point of view. And then not only that, but because my focus is so much on them, and like how lucky I am to have them, I'm feeling, I'm feeling less than. I'm feeling like, it's not somebody that you should really, that for me, I should celebrate and say, look, bring home to mom and dad, somebody that, to bring home to someone you can be proud of. But I don't know. I suppose my eyes are kind of open in that way. I'm still working this out. I'm still thinking this through. So I hope it kind of makes a bit of sense. But then you realize, you see, like, you just, okay, so it's out of desperation, it's out of loneliness, you're stuck you're marooned on an island with one other person. You want to believe so much about them, you want to put them on a pedestal subconsciously, and therefore, if they love you, if they like you, and they give you affection, and give you attention, then you feel worthy about yourself because you've uplifted them. And then them loving, you see, this is what I'm realizing, maybe. So you uplift them, and then they give you attention, and it makes you feel special, but really they're rotten, they're not a good person at all. They're not, it's, even if they, so what? They're not a high caliber, high quality person. They haven't worked on themselves. They haven't made compromises in their life, sacrifices. They haven't grown. They haven't faced life's challenges. They want to be spoiled. They're impulsive. They're impatient. They're mood swings. They're inconsistent. They have a high sense of entitlement. All of these things, that these are the qualities, but you don't want to see them because you just want to see them, again, out of desperation, as more perfect. You want to put them on a pedestal that they're better than you, and you actually deserve to be in their company. again, like I'm saying, like a pretty woman, but she's flawed. She's flawed in so many ways. Just because of the looks doesn't make her beyond Thunderdome, doesn't make her, a human being that has complex trauma and carries all these other things and is not taking responsibility for their life. People, it's the same thing, and people believe that if I was rich, that I'd be happy. They really believe that if I was rich, then I'd be happy, then I'm sorted. That's all I need, that's all I'm missing in life. Once I'm like a multi-millionaire, I'll be happy. So many people believe that. And you can't change their perspective or their mind. They want to believe that. So you want to believe that, just for myself to find, I'm saying, a pretty girl or somebody, that I'll be happy, that I'll feel good about myself. This is going on all the time. Again, there's that quote where he says, "Show me a beautiful girl and I'll show you a man that's tired of sleeping with her." So again, we just say, well, I'm married to this man, or I'm married to this woman. She's got to be something of substance. You know what? Maybe they're not. Well, this is my father, this is my mother. They got to be of somebody of substance. They got to. So maybe not. Maybe they're trash bags. Maybe they're dirt bags. Maybe they're scumbags. Really. But again, the idea, it's just it's an idea, and therefore, you want to feel safe. You want to feel you made the right choice. You want to feel that, you want to take the path of least resistance. You just want to feel that, that it's a fantasy. It's just a fantasy. We want to believe that gurus have the answers, in a way, or the guru even thinks himself as this high megalomaniac type of guy. And we want to believe that governments are sincere, to a certain degree. Well, we know that they're not. We live in a fake world, and our own lives are fake because we pull the wool over our own eyes all the time. And then we try to and insist to pull the wool over each other's eyes. People see my father, he's a very, he's a wealthy man, and they see him as like a champion. And I'm like, dude, you don't know this, that's all the time. You see people, so you don't really know the real person. If you had to know the real person, but even if like my friends, if I from high school, I'm saying, I used to say, listen, let's sit down and I'll tell you about my father. They'd be like, yeah, but he's your dad. And even though he wasn't present in your life, that doesn't matter. He's your father and he's got a lot of money and he has supported you financially, and therefore you should feel very blessed, and you shouldn't even be talking about him this way. It's very negative. He's a great man. And I said, what makes him great? Why do you see him as great? We can't, again, with celebrities, I don't understand. When they ask celebrities' opinion, oh, do you know that Chris Evans, uses this deodorant or this aftershave? So what? Who cares what Chris Evans uses? But often of the time they ask, like people, what's her name, stand up at these, what's her name, they're crazy. I can't remember the woman, her name. She's quite a big actress, and she talks at these conferences about, LGBT stuff, and and also singers, actors, these people, I can't remember her name, but she does a whole big thing. Or Emma Watson, I think her name is as well. These people, these are spokespeople for the UN, like DiCaprio. He's probably such a scumbag. He's a brilliant actor, there's no question about it, but he could easily just be a scumbag. But we don't want to believe that. We just want to, again, the high life, just the beautiful things. Like also George says in Seinfeld, he says, Jerry says, a beautiful woman doesn't have to pick up anything very heavy because there'll always be a man that's willing to do the job for them. I think, beautiful women have an easy life. They get what they want, type of thing. But we're so superficial. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's it. We're just chasing. Look, a lot of us need to put food on the table, but people They have money, but they spend it badly. They spend it on things that want to make them look like rock stars, or a lifestyle that they can't afford. So they can take Instagram photos with their, their new sunglasses. They really can't afford it. They've bought on credits. They really can't afford the car that they're still, paying off. They're paying off installments on cars. Like the bank owns the cars. Like I think in most countries the banks own the cars, and people don't get a car that can just take them from A to B that's reliably safe and comfortable. They have to go for a big, great, massive car that really speaks volumes, and it's ridiculous. So that's what we're doing all the time because we're so insecure. And again, we want to get these labels and brands and the things that people associate with greatness, and we want to have them associated with us so we feel great. Again, we want our children to be great and successful so we feel great. So we feel. It's the same thing with my father. My father wasn't interested, even not interested in emotional well-being. He wanted to know. The most important thing was how many grades are you getting, or the most important thing was that how are you towing the religious line? How are you praying 3 times a day? How are you doing all the things that you're required to do? That was important. That was significant. Again, we try and live in a picture-perfect life. All the time. We want people, again, the snapshots on Instagram, on Facebook. It's not of the moment as you wake up. It's the moment when you, in your favorite bikini, and it's filtered, and you've taken 15 or 20 different photos at different angles to get the right angle, and then that's what you show to people. It's so misleading. I've so often come across people's Facebook profile picture, then I see their other pictures and say, that doesn't even look like you. You found a photo at a certain angle, and this is how you want to represent yourself. You're not being authentic, you're not being confident. And if we just embrace our confidence and our flaws, it'd be so much better, but then we won't be accepted. It's terrible. Where I've met people in their profile picture and they look, so it doesn't even look like you. But that's how we want to be represented, because inside we just carry too much shame, too much insecurity. That's what we carry. So we all put on this act, and again, like I said, we all feed the matrix, we all feed the system, we all feed capitalism, we all do it, we're all feeding it out of our own pain and our own insecurities. Is that not the truth? Is that not the truth? Are we not all busy playing to the tune of other people, to the tune of other people, just so we can have a little bit of, sort of self-esteem, which is not even real. It doesn't suffice. It's cheap tricks, man. It's cheap thrills. We're just setting ourselves out every single day, each one of us. That's why I'm so amazed. How the odds are against us as human beings. It's just I can't believe, again, how few people can actually overcome, childhood trauma and neglect and everything else, and stay away from consumerisms and addiction and find their own way. It's highly, highly, highly unlikely. Is there 144,000 people? Is that what the Bible says, that are awake at any given time? I don't think so. But is it as less as that? Is it less than 1 million? Out of the whole world? The whole world? And come on, you got to be an old soul. You got to be an old soul, whatever that means. There's no ways that you can be, this is your first time round or second time round. It is so complex. Again, you're so heavily indoctrinated. You're so easily traumatized. You're so easily kicked out of the sort of socials if you're not. Back in the day, and thank goodness this has changed, but I think in the 60s or 70s, you only slept with somebody if you were married to them, and you didn't sleep together. You didn't have sex. So have sex before you were married. And then divorce was seen as a terrible thing, and I can't believe it's so embarrassing. And how can you get divorced? And some communities are still like that. How rigid was that? Or the woman falls pregnant, and they're dating, and they're not really wanting to say, okay, well we have to get married because I fell pregnant. They're like, what will society think? At least it's changed. Now you can be a footy going to be 43-year-old bachelor and not married, and it's like, yeah, not a big deal. But before, like I remember growing up and people that weren't married over the age of like 30 or 35 were like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you married yet? No, but that's all changed. It's become a lot more, you know, sort of accepted, or whatever it might be. There's enough else going on that we don't really care, you know, so much. But before it was like, yo, do you know that guy's still not engaged? He never got married. I wonder what's wrong with him. Maybe he's gay or something like that. It's like, it's not for everybody. No, it doesn't work for everybody. We just think it works for everybody, so everybody rushes into it. I'm telling you, all my friends that I grew up and went to school with, they found people that kind of ticked the boxes in certain ways. They found women, they were really not suitable. They really were not mature enough to get married. They really made, if you ask me, very, very limiting life choices. Very, very limiting life choices. And here's the thing, right? And I must go inside. Here's the thing, is that it's full moon tonight, as I mentioned, which is very nice. It's nice to be outside. You see, sometimes I do this recording out of necessity. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here and doing what? I don't know when we're listening to YouTube lectures. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. But so here's the thing, right? Is that like with my partner, well, I wouldn't even say that she is my partner. This person in my life. Sometimes I mention her name. Sometimes I'm okay with it. Sometimes I'm not. I don't know why that is. You know. She has two teenagers, right? I don't like to say kids, teenage children, but they're not children, are they? But I don't know how it works. Youngsters, you know. So she was like 18 years old when she had the one, and then she was like 20 years old when she had the other one. Again, I mean, she didn't know whether she was coming or going. It was just, you know, you can blame people. Come on, what do you think is going to happen? But I mean, she came from so much trauma and so much poverty and, you know, orphanages, and she just didn't stand a chance. She didn't know what she was getting up to. Like most people don't know what they're getting up to. Most people just don't have the smart enough to work out what they, you know, to kind of stay out of trouble. I mean, even myself, you know. But sometimes things happen that you just, you know, you just, yeah, whatever. So, so for her, when I talk about a subject, let's say, of that I sent to her about being an unwanted child and the consequences of that and the lifelong trauma that you carry because of being an unwanted child, which I was an unwanted child. I mean, I wasn't a mistake, but again, my parents just had children because the Bible said you must be fruitful and multiply, and you're not supposed to use contraceptives in the Jewish religion. So that was it. I mean, I know families that it's called a mitzvah, like a duty, sort of, in Judaism, that you need to at least have one female, one boy, and one girl. And I know a family that had 9 boys, and they still only finally on the 10th. So they had 10 children. They had a girl on the 10th, just so they can, you know, fulfill that mitzvah, that obligation or that duty. So again, that's an unwanted child. I was an unwanted child. Most of us were unwanted children. Maybe they wanted to actually, you know, have us as a child. Maybe they wanted to have us our parents, but not who we are as an individual. No. They have emotional needs. They didn't want to have, again, an emotional relationship with us. And their parents didn't want an emotional relationship with them. And their parents and their great parents didn't want it, and it just went on and on. The idea of having children. That was it a lot of the time. And there was an emotional connection maybe for the first year or something like that, maybe a year and a half. But maybe not. Maybe you were the 8th child to come along the way. You think mom is going to actually give you any attention? She's got 7 children to deal with, all under the ages of 15. Oh my word. You know, mother's really going to feel love towards you. I mean, I loathe this cat a lot of the time because of her needs on me. Her needs on me. So, with this friend of mine, if you want to call whatever it is, I can't send her a video that's titled the trauma of an unwanted child, because then she realizes about her own children and she feels incredible amount of guilt, incredible amount of shame, how she raised her 2 children or barely managed to. I mean, under the circumstances of what she had to go through and the abusive drug addict husband that she had, he used to take a sexual advantage of her. He used to come home drunk. The most horrible stories of physical violence and abuse, of stabbing and just crazy shit. I mean, I can't imagine what she went through. I can't imagine what she went through, you know. Again, I sometimes do. I have empathy, and I do feel sorry for her, because it's like, geez, what you went through, and also what I went through. You see, man, I'm saying a lot of things here, but wow, I mean, then she meets a guy like me, and then her boyfriend after her husband for 4 years. I mean, he died of alcohol poisoning because he was an alcoholic. He was even worse than the husband. He was even more abusive than her husband. I mean, what was going on? I mean, you talk about just a hard, and then so she's got these 2 teenagers, and the son has kind of got special needs. He hasn't left the house in a very long time. He reads like at probably a 15-year-old level, no, even less than that. You know, I don't know. The daughter, it's really very, very complicated. I have nothing to do with them. Not because I don't want to. I mean, I would really like to, but this person in my life keeps me at arm's length because she's afraid of commitment. She's afraid of abandonment. She's afraid of just about everything. You know, she's afraid about everything. But that's why I came into her life, because I'm a real gem in that way. You know, this is a real opportunity for her in her life, but I don't know if she's taking it. She takes it sometimes, other times she doesn't. She's just too afraid. She just keeps me at arm's length, and that's why I'm so alone. I'm so lonely all the time. She's supposed to sleep over, but she doesn't. She just doesn't. She doesn't live far from me, and I supported her financially and her 3 children for the last 3.5 years. You know, every need is taken care of, and I'm here to talk, I'm here to listen, I'm loyal, I've worked on myself, I'm not abusive. You see, if I was abusive, then she'd be more at ease, because if I wasn't interested in her well-being, she'd be more at ease. She has to be interested in her own well-being and overcoming her depression and her fear and anxiety without me having to push her. So that's why I'm saying, if I send her a video like that, I understand it's very, very harsh, because it talks about, you know, unwanted children, what they suffer from, the depression, suicidal, self-doubt, and all of these things are what her children go through daily. The self-doubt, the feeling that they don't belong, they don't exist, and all of that other stuff. It's too much to lay on her too quickly, and also part of it doesn't want to know. She doesn't have the confidence. It's too frightening and it's too scary for her, and maybe it's not her time. Maybe in another lifetime where she's, you know, a bit of an older soul or something, or she's had the experience and she's like, you know, maybe it's not right to push her now. But the thing is that I also need some respect. I also needed her to come to the party. I also have needs. I really wouldn't make that much effort or whatever it is if I had other people in my life. She'd be so happy if I had other people in my life, then she would feel guilt-free for not having to spend time with me. You know? But you would think that out of love, out of everything that I do, that should be motivated to sleep over. I'm not talking about all the time. I'm talking about once a week. She used to, but it's everything with her has got to be power. She's got to have the power. She's got to have the control. If she'll do it because she wants to do it, but she's not motivated to do it. Her fears control her, so she gets in the way of herself, and you know, she knows that I'm miserable, she knows that I'm lonely, and she just puts it out of her mind. She puts so many things, like my father, she just compartmentalizes things and just, you know, puts them out of her mind, doesn't think about them. So I'm neglected and I'm ignored, and this is not good for my self-esteem and for my well-being. Because again, you go 95% of the way and you put in so much energy and so much effort, and it's not being reciprocated, it's not being met, it's not being reflected, you know, and what are you getting back? And so for myself, I've become embittered, you know, and then I think, so, and then I have to scrape the bottom of the barrel because this is all that I have to work with. This is the person that I'm stuck on this island with, because I can't meet anybody else. I try. I went tonight to the pub to walk around. I didn't see anybody, nothing. Who's going to manage me? Which woman is going to handle me? Which woman is going to handle me? Unless she's done huge amounts of work. Because I'm just going to reflect to her the work that she still needs to do. And if she's not willing to do it, if she's not open to do it, then, you know, and the healing that needs to take place, and this responsibility and the self-respect and everything else, how's she going to handle me? She wouldn't be able to handle me. My brothers can't handle me. My father can't handle me. I mean, I don't know people that can handle me. I don't know people that can handle me. And again, that also comes with an insecurity of mine. So that's why I'm very embittered, and I feel very lonely. And I feel very annoyed, and I think to myself, how do I fill the time? How do I fill this space? How do I just sort of get by where I don't feel like I'm losing my mind out of isolation? Again, today I only spoke to one person face to face for about 10 minutes who came to buy some safety boots, and that's it. I went to bed alone. I'm waking up alone. The whole day, I'm not seeing anybody else. I mean, I'll go to the shops and I'll walk around, but I have no interaction, you know, for people who know me on a personal level. I don't have that 90% of the time. Seriously, that's the kind of life I live. Bone-crushing isolation and loneliness. And then I depend on this woman, and it's like you can, as he says, you can wish in the one hand and crap in the other, and see which one gets filled first. You know? I can wish all I like, but it's just, there's such an immaturity there. There's so much fear. There's so much excuse. There's so much shame. There's so much guilt. I'm not saying you need to sit and talk to me. No, whatever. It's just company. It's just somebody else is in the house. It's a massive house. It's a massive house. This house has got 4 garages. 4 garages. You can park, I don't know how many cars in here. You must understand the size of this house. It's huge. I mean, I don't know how many, there's 3 bedrooms, but there's other rooms. There's TV rooms, there's lounges, it's crazy. And I'm in it on my own all the frickin' time. So again, for myself, with people, and with God, wrestling with God, why am I alone? Why do I have to scrape the bottom of the barrel? Why have I got to be so appreciative when she does decide to come over? And I feel so, I used to feel so indebted, and I used to feel so like, you know, and if we'd be intimate, I'd be like, oh my word, I'm just in heaven. I just, you know, and I was besotted with her. I was gaga over her. You know, I was just like enamored by her. I was just like, just her smell, just to touch her, just whatever it was, her skin. And now I'm like, ugh. I want to say ugh, but I'm like, you know, the essence, you know, that for myself, maybe it wasn't just there. It probably wasn't. I just, you know, like he says to Neo in the Matrix, Neo says to Morpheus, why do my eyes hurt when they unplug him? He says, because you've never used them before. So for myself, I'm using my eyes. I'm being honest to myself, and I'm not putting myself down, and I'm not going to, you know, just satisfy on breadcrumbs and make it as if they're like, you know, roasted veg, organic vegetables, steamed vegetables or something like that. You know, I'm going to, or like say delicious cheesecake or whatever it is. I'm going to have to, you know, I'm going to acknowledge that these are breadcrumbs that have fallen off the table, and this is what I'm having to do with. This is what I'm dealing with. This is the reality. This is my wound. This is my what's it called? Flesh, my burning flesh, my searing flesh, he says, like in Fight Club. This is my pain. This is my reality. This is reality. on so many levels of opening one's eyes, and truly seeing what reality truly is for the real truth, and not a convenient truth, and not a truth that's just going to be self-serving to our ego, and and sort of a quick fix that we're thinking, or to give us some kind of feeling of like value of importance by a mirage, by inventing somebody in our lives, a character, a person, or something like that we think has so much, you know what I'm saying. Put them on a pedestal so we can feel better about ourselves, or put a guru on a pedestal, or whatever it might be. Put no one on a pedestal, and put nobody, whoever it might be. Don't put anybody on a pedestal, and don't put anybody higher than yourself in certain ways. I don't know if that's I wouldn't say always, but I don't know, maybe those are not accurate words. I'm very, very tired. I'm trying to end this off, in a bit of a conclusion and summarize, but it's not happening. I'm imperfect. All right, thanks for taking the time. Take care.